I transmigrated into the Primordial World, and the very first thing I did was confess that I was a transmigrator. Then I handed over my system, saying I wanted nothing more than a peaceful life here. I had just arrived, alone with no one to rely on. If I offended anyone, I would accept the punishment. This is the system that has followed me until now. Please take it. I only ask that you spare my life. But after reaching the Daluo realm, I finally saw the terrifying truth of the Primordial World. It was filled with countless powerful beings, yet no matter how strong they were all Daluos. Even the legendary witch demon war and the investiture of the gods' tribulation were nothing more than scripts written by bored Daluos. With too much time on their hands, they could even pick their own roles. Some Daluos even played multiple parts, enjoying the performance immensely. Once a character's arc ended, they'd immediately switch accounts to play another. So, Daluo is the pinnacle of immortality, eternal and indestructible, transcending all material things. Once attained, forever attained, completely leaping out of the river of time. They are the true transcendence. Of the multiverse, though essentially similar, there are still vast differences between them. I didn't think that just because I became a Daluo, I would be equal to the three pure ones. Now, I've received an invitation from the Dao Ancestor to have tea at the Purple Cloud Palace. I was riding a cloud toward the outer 33 heavens. That mountain seemed to move. I saw a malevolent aura condensing on one of the peaks, and faintly, the aura of chaos began to emerge. Clearly, someone was using earthly malevolence to cultivate by converting it into chaos chi. But what use is this messy chaos chi? Just as I was thinking this, the mountain peak before me suddenly shook violently. With a thunderous boom, the mountain peak suddenly exploded. Since coming to this world, 30 million years, I have finally attained the true body of the time demon god. Now, I am invincible under heaven. Ha ha ha. A transmigrator? He was laughing loudly, but the giant suddenly froze. His gaze shifted, only then noticing me standing before him. He was shocked. After hiding for 30 million years, someone actually got this close without him noticing. System, analyze his strength. Race, human. Realm, Daluo golden immortal. To deduce that I am a transmigrator, you indeed have some cultivation. Today, I shall storm the Purple Cloud Palace, taking the first step toward dominating the Primordial World. You, golden immortal, will be the perfect sacrifice to mark my start. Then, I'll eliminate everyone who poses a threat. Not one of the 6 saints shall remain. Nuwa can stay. I'll keep her by my side as a maid. Ha ha ha. Young transmigrator, I advise you to think twice. Once you act, you must bear the consequences. I'm doing this for your own sake. This primordial world might be different from what you imagine. Why don't I take you to see the Dao Ancestor? The giant demon god sneered, letting out a roar. He struck without warning, swinging his massive wooden staff. Suddenly, a ball of chaos-colored lightning appeared, striking down toward me. The chaos divine lightning exploded, engulfing me completely. In an instant, space shattered, swallowing everything it touched. The giant demon god had already looked away, holding his staff and looking toward the sky, planning his upcoming battle at the Purple Cloud Palace. Right then, a voice suddenly echoed from the center of the chaos. I was too careless. I didn't dodge. As the words fell, I was standing there with my hands behind my back, without a single speck of dust on my Taoist robe. The giant demon god's eyes nearly popped out, and he instinctively took a step back, his initial confidence completely gone. However, he suddenly noticed that I had appeared before him at some point, and all he saw was a fist closing in on his face. With a loud bang, his left cheek took a heavy blow. Time demon god. Huh? A transmigrator. Right? Dominating the primordial world, is it? With one final slap, the giant demon god's massive body, like a meteorite, plummeted toward the earth. I stood upon a cloud, shaking my head. Forget it, the game ends here. I should head to the Purple Cloud Palace. Although the Dao Ancestor has a loose sense of time, it's not good to keep him waiting too long. I raised a single finger and gently tapped him. A collapse began to spread from his heart. Just then, a streak of light suddenly shot out from the giant demon god's body, attempting to flee. Then, I reached out my hand and gently scooped it up. The ball of light was captured without any resistance. Is this the transmigrator system? I clenched my fist, and when I opened my hand again, it had become a cloud of mist the size of a black chess piece, resting quietly in my palm. After putting the piece away, I snapped my fingers, restoring the land destroyed by the battle's aftershocks. Then I resumed my journey beyond the 33 heavens. After passing through a region of chaos filled with violent elements, a small Taoist temple appeared ahead. Beneath a pine tree in the courtyard sat a stone table, with stone chairs on either side. A young Taoist was sitting by the table, with 2 cups of clear tea placed before him and opposite. I kept you waiting, Dao Ancestor. Has it been long? I laughed, not dwelling on the matter. I've been in this world for quite some time, and this isn't my first time dealing with the Dao Ancestor. I understand his temperament well enough. The Dao Ancestor exists within the ineffable. His outward appearance and personality depend entirely on your perception. If you perceive him as an elder, he is an elder. If you see him as young, he is young. Even if you think he's a cute girl, he will truly appear as a cute girl. Even the Dao Ancestor's personality depends entirely on yourself. If you think he's a good person, he is a good person. If you think he's the mastermind, you're not wrong either. But these are all external, the perceptions of those below the Daluo realm. For a Daluo who has transcended all, the Dao Ancestor is simply the Dao Ancestor, possessing joys and sorrows just like them. Most importantly, he is a Daluo just as they are. On my way here, I ran into a transmigrator. It wasted a bit of my time. You ran into a transmigrator? And what happened? That transmigrator was obsessed with dominating the primordial world. He wanted to cause you trouble the moment he emerged. I couldn't just stand by and watch. I'll just take care of him for you. As I spoke, I took out a black chess piece emanating a chaotic aura, bringing it forth, handing it over with a sycophantic smile. Look, I've even brought his system. Taking the piece, the Dao Ancestor looked at me with suspicion. I have a feeling that with your personality, you plan to lure him right to me. Dao Ancestor, how could you think so lowly of me? I am utterly loyal. The Dao Ancestor chuckled, amused by my antics. In the beginning, when I confessed my identity as a transmigrator, he accepted it but didn't pay it much mind. He is the Dao Ancestor, transcendent and detached from all things. He wouldn't target me just for being a transmigrator. The reason he executed those others was simply because they lacked self-awareness, each one trying to stir up trouble and endangering the primordial world. If you just keep a low profile, who has the time to target you? Like that transmigrator I just encountered, who laid low in the primordial world for 30 million years. He was perfectly fine. The Dao Ancestor gave me a primordial origin, allowing me to live a peaceful life here. But I never expected that I would step by step from an ordinary man, cultivate my way to the Daluo realm. This suddenly caused a sensation among all the Daluos of the primordial world, and I became the group's darling. Across countless epochs and infinite universes, very few could attain the Daluo state. And for all the Daluos, any being below their level, no matter how strong, is not considered their peer. Just as a monkey, no matter how clever, will never be seen as a human. Currently, all the Daluos in the primordial world attained enlightenment countless epochs ago. Even the most recent one is still 10 epochs apart. But in this epoch, I am the first and only one to attain the Daluo state. It's like a great clan that hasn't seen a newborn in ages, suddenly welcoming a new baby, and I became the most pampered youngest member of this family, especially those long-established female Daluo golden immortals. They absolutely adore me, but because they are far too enthusiastic, it's actually given me some psychological trauma. For the last 10,000 years, I've been intentionally avoiding them. Meanwhile, the Dao Ancestor took the system I handed over, glanced at it indifferently, and tapped the table gently with his right hand. A chessboard appeared, densely packed with black and white pieces, forming an incredibly complex game. As the Dao Ancestor gently placed the black piece, the entire chessboard expanded, eventually becoming a vast universe. The black and white pieces were like stars, emitting various types of energy, absolutely terrifying. They were all systems carried by transmigrators, a whole universe filled with systems. Looking at the board, I was filled with emotion. Though it wasn't my first time seeing it, I was still shocked every single time. Just how many transmigrators have caused trouble across these infinite epochs. At the same time, I felt incredibly lucky about my choice back then. Just as the Dao Ancestor was about to place this new system into the chessboard, he suddenly stopped. What's wrong? The Dao Ancestor glanced at me, as if pondering something, then suddenly smiled and tossed the system back to me. Since it's a trophy you earned, you might as well keep it. It's not exactly a rare item anyway. I caught it instinctively, looking at him warily, then asked cautiously, Dao Ancestor, is there something you wish for me to do? You really are a clever little thing. Now, let me hear what you have to say. Don't worry, it's nothing difficult. Hearing this, I relaxed. Not that I was worried about anything. I had already attained the Daluo state, transcending all worldly ties, immortal and indestructible. There was no possibility of me dying. Not even the Dao Ancestor before me could kill me, but that group of Daluos in the Primordial World. Just thinking about them gives me a headache. It's truly a long story. They have infinite time, and their greatest pleasure is finding entertainment. Each one is either a drama queen or a belly-black schemer. Although I'm currently the darling of the Primordial Daluos, there are always a few who are simply abnormal. Don't worry, it has nothing to do with the other Daluos. Hearing this, I completely relaxed. The only things a Daluo cares about are other Daluos. Therefore, there's nothing in the entire multiverse to fear. A while ago, the 4 sacred beasts came to find me. They said they've guarded the primordial world for over 100 epochs, yet they never get any screen time during the great tribulations. They were very dissatisfied with this, so they came to vent to me, asking me to find someone to take over their jobs. The 4 sacred beasts, the azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise, are also known as the 4 spirits. They are responsible for guarding the 4 corners of the primordial world. Of course, it's not about defending against foreign invasions, nor is there any real threat. Their daily task is to plug the leaks, specifically handling glitches that don't belong in the primordial world. To put it bluntly, the troublemaker transmigrators are under their jurisdiction. And now, it seems, they've clearly developed some workplace resentment. Their attitude this time was very firm, and I didn't have much of a solution. Furthermore, in the last few epochs, there were signs of them slacking off. The number of transmigrators arriving in the primordial world has clearly increased. Letting them continue would be pointless. So I agreed, and I promised them that during this epoch's primordial shattering tribulation, I temporarily give them a bigger role. Dao Ancestor, you wouldn't happen to want me to do it, would you? Exactly. After thinking it over, when it comes to dealing with transmigrators, no one is more suited than you. After all, you were once one of them. Can I refuse? The Dao Ancestor smiled kindly and actually picked up the kettle beside him, standing up to refill my cup. Truly caught me off guard. You should think carefully. Do you really want to refuse? If I refuse, you won't get angry and make my life miserable, will you? The Dao Ancestor returned to his seat, beaming with joy. I won't. However, Nuwa has come to see me a few times, saying she wants you to play a role in the Great Tribulation. As it happens, her Wa Emperor's palace is lacking a messenger. Considering your situation, I blocked it for you, but if you refuse, the next time she comes, you can discuss it with her yourself. Having said that, the Dao Ancestor smiled and picked up his teacup, taking a small sip. Empress Nuwa wants me to go to the Wa Emperor's palace? It's not that Lady Nuwa has a grudge against me. On the contrary, she's quite fond of me, and she's helped me a great deal. But that's exactly why I have to keep my distance. The way Lady Nuwa looks at me is far too intense, like she's looking at her own pet. If I actually went to the Hua Huang Palace, she'd probably bring out a cat teaser wand. I am a dignified Daluo. How could I endure such humiliation? Rest assured, Dao Ancestor, leave all the transmigrators in Hong Huang to me from now on. Have you thought this through? I'm not forcing you. No need for further words, Dao Ancestor. I can't wait to make my contribution to Hong Huang. Don't get too emotional. After all, no other Daluo in Hong Huang wants this job. You take the lead for this era. I'll find someone else for the next one. Also, Hao Yin came to see me recently. He said he's been the Heavenly Emperor for hundreds of eras, and he's getting a bit bored. He wants a change of role. Do a good job this era, and in the next era, I'll I'll let you be the Jade Emperor. Looking at the Dao Ancestor constantly selling me a dream, I let out a soft sigh. The situation is beyond my control. No choice, I agreed. After taking over the work of the 4 saints, the Dao Ancestor was clearly in a good mood. He had a couple more cups of tea and chatted for a bit. Dao Ancestor, since transmigrators keep coming to cause trouble, why not seal off the entire Honghuang? Block the paths they use to enter. That shouldn't be too hard, right? That's exactly what I was wondering. Although Honghuang's plane is of extremely high rank, with the means of a Daluo, cutting off the channels for those transmigrators is actually not difficult. Not just the Dao Ancestor. Even I could do it. You are, after all, a newly ascended Daluo. Though you are clever, you are still young. If we actually sealed the Honghuang plane, the other Daluos would have objections. Without those transmigrators, Honghuang would lose a lot of its entertainment. Where do you think some of those transmigrators come from? Some are brought here by the Daluos. What do they gain from it? Not just some, but a considerable number. Otherwise, in the infinite planes of the multiverse, why is it so lively only on our side? As for what they gain, good question. Boredom. I fought the urge to roll my eyes, but regarding this answer, I can actually relate. Although I am the youngest Daluo, facing the endless passage of time, I sometimes worry about how truly bored I am. You're still young now. After a few more eras, you'll understand everything. I stayed with the Dao Ancestor for a while, chatting with this lonely old man. Then I rose to take my leave. I claimed a mountain peak in Honghuang and established a cave dwelling. Normally, I just cultivate and sleep there, or go out to find Daluos I'm on good terms with, to shoot the breeze. Life was quite carefree. I was closest with a group of Daluos from the Jie sect, especially Zhao Gongming. Zhao Gongming invited me to join the Jie sect several times, but I refused him flatly every time. You guys are just punching bags in the Fengshen War. You still want to drag me down with you? Do you think I'm stupid? Every time I said this, Zhao Gongming's face would turn bright red. How can the script between Daluos be called getting beaten? Besides, we don't lose every time. Those Daluos from the Chan and Western sects rely on petty tricks to ambush us, to deceive and corner us. This time, we will definitely have our revenge. All he got in response was my ridicule. However, according to information from Zhao Gongming, the Jie sect seems to be making a move this era, preparing for a counterattack, to give the Daluos of the Chan sect a grand surprise. He didn't reveal the details, but he looked completely confident. But as for the current timeline, still far from the Fengshen War, so I didn't pay it much mind. Returning to my cave, I planned to have a wonderful sleep. Although I took the job from the Dao Ancestor, transmigrators don't appear every second. I'll deal with it if something actually happens. In the 9 netherworlds of Honghuang, Houtu gazed at the boundless, churning sea of blood. She pouted. Over a dozen eras ago, to oppose the Sanqing Nuwa, Dijun, Tai, and other elite Daluos, she organized the group known as the 12 Ancestral Witches. The original purpose was to have more say in the script, established after the creation of the world. Although after becoming a Daluo, further cultivation doesn't mean much. There are still differences in strength among Daluos. Besides the accumulation of countless eras, they still need to fight for certain things. For example, who will create the world this time? Who will create humans? Who will evolve reincarnation? Who will be the 3 sovereigns of humanity, and so on. At the very least, it gives their struggles a pretext. Pangu's creation of the world is the most coveted role for all Daluos. But in reality, there is no Pangu. Or rather, whoever is the strongest before the era begins becomes Pangu. At first, everyone maintained their dignity as Daluos, deciding who would be Pangu through single combat. Then the winner would create the world and determine the direction of the script. Houtu had succeeded once. In that era, it was the most comfortable era she ever lived. That's why in the multiverse, across many planes, legends of Houtu creating the world still circulate. Besides her, many other Daluos have also played the role of Pangu, such as Nuwa, Fushi, Tai, and others. After this continued for several eras, some shameless Daluos began to break the rules. That era was Houtu's most comfortable, and the legend of her creating the world spread across countless planes. But she was only one of many. Nuwa, Fushi, Tai, and other Daluos had also taken the role of Pangu. After several eras of this, some shameless Daluos finally stopped respecting the old rules, and that was Nuwa. Every time she thought of this, Houtu grit her teeth in hatred, after realizing that single combat offered no advantage. Nuwa actually chose to team up. She actually joined forces with Fushi to seize the position of Pangu. In that era, all the Daluos capable of contending for Pangu were caught completely off guard. In the end, Nuwa and Fushi successfully stole the prize. But because of this, many Daluos discovered a new way. From then on, during every creation, everyone would look for interested Daluos to form alliances. Until a certain era later on, a newly ascended human Daluo named Li Er appeared, and he didn't act like a rookie at all. His progress was incredibly fast. Eventually, he recruited 2 other veteran Daluos, Yuanshi Tianwang and Lingbao Daishinzhen, forming a brand new trio, the Sanqing. Since then, the ownership of Pangu has never changed again. They've offended quite a few people. Many veteran Daluo immortals found them an eyesore and wanted to challenge them for dominance. Houtu was one of them, so over a dozen eras ago, she recruited 11 other elites among the Daluos to form the group of the 12 ancestral witches. At the time, they even threatened the status of the 3 pure ones, forcing them to make concessions, granting the 12 ancestral witches significant influence. Though in essence it was just a formality, but for a Daluo immortal, still held great value. Matters such as creating humanity and establishing the heavens, or founding faiths and passing the torch. These monumental events were monopolized by a few powerful Daluos. The evolution of samsara has been controlled by Houtu for over 10 primordial eras, leaving outsiders unable to touch it. In the timeline of the current era, it is once again time for her to manifest into samsara. And right now, she is pondering that once she manifests into samsara, she'll switch to that alt account she snatched from Nuwa before this era began. According to the agreement made before this era's inception, her main account, the true self after manifesting into samsara, cannot leave the 9 netherworlds. Although this agreement existed before, it wasn't strictly enforced, but Houtu had a prior record, in the previous era, to express her dissatisfaction with the Lich script written by Nuwa. She openly tore the script to shreds. Though she entered samsara that time, something went wrong on the Demon Emperor's side. He claimed he was bored with the Lich War, and went to wander the multiverse, leaving only his Daluo Dharma body in the Primordial World, letting Donghuang Tai play on his behalf. Donghuang Tai struggled with managing 2 bodies at once. Don't just stand there, ring the bell here, and lead the army there. I'm so busy I'm practically tying myself in knots. During the war, the demon court was nearly wiped out. Seeing this, Nuwa panicked. Donghuang Tai was her quasi-ally. If the Wu clan completely crushed the demon court this era, when the world is reset next time, their influence would plummet. Conversely, the Daluos watching from the sidelines were thrilled. Look, that little general is charging again. Humph, his spearwork is precise, and his momentum is strong, but he's still lacking a bit of refinement. Maybe the winner will be decided soon. Just wait and see. They didn't like scripts that strictly followed tradition either, except for the main plot of humanity's rise. Until the primordial world shatters, everything else was fair game for changes. Some Daluos of the human race were itching for action, already planning how to lead humanity to survive in desperation. Once the demon court fell, once the demon court is gone, the Wu clan will inevitably dominate. Let's lay low and recover first. Wait until they've nearly torn each other apart. Then we'll reap the benefits. Yes, then humanity will make a grand comeback. Then Nuwa stepped in directly, attempting to forcibly save the demon court. This move infuriated Houtu. Fine. I played by the rules, watching the show peacefully after entering samsara. But you little brat broke the rules. She immediately exited samsara to clash violently with Nuwa. As a result, the Daluos watching were completely stunned. Seeing this, Donghuang Tai was caught in a dilemma. He simply abandoned the emperor's Dharma body and focused on his own main account, going all out in a head-on collision with the ancestral witches. Many Daluos who were originally bystanders were dragged into the chaos. The internal war was absolute mayhem, turning heaven and earth upside down. Finally, the Dao Ancestor stepped in to clean up the mess. He reprimanded both sides, especially Nuwa. Houtu argued that they had ruined the gaming experience for all the Daluos. In the end, with a wave of his hand, he gave the witches and demons an ending where both races perished together. The human Daluos beat their chests in frustration. What a perfect script for humanity's rise against the odds. And yet, just because two women couldn't stand each other, they went and tore the whole script apart. Because of this, a group of human Daluos collectively denounced the act. Nuwa and Houtu knew they were in the wrong and didn't argue blindly. However, Houtu accused Nuwa of breaking the rules first. Nuwa countered that she wasn't bound by samsara and could intervene whenever she pleased. Just as the two were about to fight at the Daluo assembly, the three pure ones, the Buddha, Jain, and other powerful Daluos rushed to break up the fight. The final decision reached at the assembly was, Houtu is strictly forbidden from exiting samsara this era, and Nuwa cannot show bias during the Lich War. Considering that, after Houtu enters samsara, her main account's movement is restricted, Nuwa must give Houtu an alt account so that, after entering samsara, she can play using that alt. Houtu accepted this outcome. Finally, Houtu picked an alt account that Nuwa really loved. Recalling Nuwa's pained expression, she almost burst out laughing. With a decision made, Houtu gave a lazy stretch. At that moment, waves surged upon the blood sea, and an old man appeared atop the crests. Lady Houtu, are you about to enter samsara? Houtu nodded lazily. Yes. As you know, things got a bit messy last era, so I'll start a bit early this time, lest those Daluos waiting for their turn say I'm stalling the plot. Speaking of which, Ancestral Patriarch Mingi, your powers are impressive, but you stand alone, with very little influence. Your Azura clan is always relegated to a supporting role. Why not consider joining my Wu clan next era? I'll grant you the status of an ancestral witch. Lady Houtu truly never misses a chance to recruit. Unfortunately, this old Taoist is the patriarch of the demonic path. Currently, the righteous path prospers, while the demonic path declines. Only fellow Taoist Luo Ho and I are struggling to hold the line. If I were to leave the primordial world, I fear the demonic path would vanish in future eras. In that case, ally yourself with me. Next era, help me seize the authority of creating humans from Nuwa at the assembly, and I will help you suppress Luo Ho, establishing you as the supreme leader of the demonic path. While the two were speaking, a pair of eyes in the shadows silently watched Houtu. Who is she talking to? Why hasn't she entered samsara yet? How am I supposed to stop her like this? How will I complete the system's mission? Hearing Hutu's proposal, Mingi's heart raced with excitement. Luo Ho, the early patriarch of the demonic path, was a powerhouse among the Daluos. Unfortunately, he was solitary and eccentric, refusing to compromise. He was disliked among the Daluo immortals. Though a veteran powerhouse, he had never once served as a Pangu. As for Mingi, though he entered the path later, his talent was extraordinary, possessing the potential to surpass his predecessor. Although Luo Ho had few allies, his own strength was formidable, and his roots in the demonic path were deep. Mingi truly desired to steal the position of the first patriarch of the demonic path and establish an unprecedented legacy. As for why he wanted this, it was because Mingi never managed to secure a lead role in the great primordial catastrophes. After countless years, he had grown utterly bored. In this situation, better to let the demonic path fight among themselves, just for some fun. It's not the demonic path if you don't get backstabbed. Also, if I truly steal demon ancestor Luo Ho's identity, it would be a validation of his Dao. I might even make a significant breakthrough, but being swayed by Hutu's a few words would make me seem too cheap. Lady Nuwa has approached this old Taoist before. Whatever Nuwa offers, I'll pay double. Mingi stared wide-eyed at Houtu, deeply shocked by the boldness in her words. The big shot is truly heartless. He agreed immediately. Price settled. The rest is easy. Mingi was in high spirits. He chatted cheerfully with Houtu for a bit and agreed on the specific details. They discuss further after Houtu establishes samsara. Then he took his leave. Just as he turned around, a pair of eyes hidden in the shadows gleamed with joy. Finally leaving. That's Ancestor Mingi, right? In my memories, they have no connection. Could it be the butterfly effect after my transmigration? Ancestor Mingi suddenly paused and turned back to say, to that little mouse spying over there, do I need to deal with you now? Houtu chuckled. She knew Mingi was just showing off for her. She waved her hand. No need, life in the primordial chaos is boring anyway. I want to see what he's up to. Use him for some entertainment. Your ladyship certainly has the leisure. In that case, this old Taoist will await you in the blood sea. Ha ha ha. Houtu pretended to be oblivious and maintained her posture to establish samsara. Heaven and earth bear witness. Houtu, seeing the suffering of rebirth in the primordial chaos, with billions of dead souls having no place to return. Wait a moment, fellow Taoist Houtu. This samsara cannot be established. There is a trap in this samsara. It must not be set up, at least not right now. Houtu raised an eyebrow and glanced at the man before her. He looked to be in his 20s, with a polished, pampered face. With one look, she could tell his will was weak, indulgent and decadent. His Dao heart was practically non-existent, let alone the righteous path. He didn't even have the potential for the immortal path, let alone Daluo. Yet he tried to act like a transcendent immortal. He struggled to restrain his gaze toward her, trying to look appreciative rather than lustful. Other than my brother, are none of these transmigrators mentally strong? Ming, a cultivator from the 9 nether underworld, unable to bear seeing fellow Taoist Houtu manipulated by the heavenly Dao. That is why I speak up to warn you. Sigh. He thought that after hearing this, Houtu would be shocked and lose her composure, then ask him for the details. Then he could seize the initiative. On one hand, expose Hongjuan's conspiracy. On the other, leave a good impression on Houtu, then use Houtu as a gateway to befriend the Wu clan, develop the earthly Dao, finally contend with the heavenly Dao, and dominate the primordial chaos. But Houtu had no reaction. Instead, she looked at him as if he were an idiot, but the look vanished instantly, making him wonder if he had imagined it. Then, after a full 3 seconds, Houtu belatedly put on a shocked expression. Is this truly the case? Houtu's reaction is way too exaggerated. Ming felt a lump stuck in his throat, unable to swallow it or spit it out. But then he thought, she must have been mentally clouded by the heavenly Dao. Now, through his warning, she has finally awakened. Exactly, fellow Taoist Houtu. Listen to me, and you will understand everything. Tell me more. Meanwhile, I woke up abruptly from my deep sleep, clutching my calves with both hands, my face twisting in pain. That's not right. Although I'm in a mortal state, my Daluo essence is still asleep. Leg cramps shouldn't be happening. Something must be wrong. I used my right thumb to calculate the heavenly secrets. Houtu hasn't established samsara. This is a big deal. I stood up, wondering if I should interfere. Logically, this transmigrator is seeking his own death, daring to provoke an ancestral witch. One wrong move, and he'll be turned to ash. She's a powerhouse who was once Pangu, a Daluo among Daluos. But I feel the leg cramp was some kind of omen. I still have to visit Houtu, to pay my respects, but Houtu is like Nuwa. Both are too passionate. I downed 2 gulps of wine to bolster my courage. I rode a cloud toward the east of the primordial chaos, arriving at the Wu clan's territory. It was a complex of palaces. Each palace was built incredibly tall. I stopped my cloud at the entrance, immediately catching the attention of 2 Wu guards. Who goes there? The Wu guard instantly became alert. He was 30 feet tall, standing like a giant at the gate, muscles bulging all over his body, with a giant python coiled around him. Seeing me, the python opened its maw to bite. I raised a finger and tapped lightly. The python froze instantly, completely suspended in mid-air. Just as I was about to speak, the space shifted. When I came to, I was in a massive palace. Sister Houtu, it's been a while. You've become even more beautiful. Houtu, on her throne, immediately smiled. Time and all things fade in comparison. Beyond words, even I couldn't help but stare. My heart skipped a beat. Little brother, your tongue is getting sweeter. Come here, let sister have a look. I responded, and walked obediently to her. Closer, why stay so far away? Is sister a tiger? I obediently took 2 more steps, until I was close enough. Houtu suddenly stood up, reached out and grabbed my wrist. With a slight tug, she pulled me right in front of her. Houtu smiled, pinched my cheeks, kneading them repeatedly, like kneading a newborn baby. Such chubby little cheeks. You look a bit plump. You've been doing well lately. Thanks to you, sister, I'm doing fine. After playing for a while, Houtu let go and sat back on her throne, crossing her left leg over her right, legs crossed high. What brings you to visit sister? Do you want to come to sister's place and be a great Wu? I'll give you a top-tier great Wu lineage, not inferior to Hui or Xing Tian. Thank you for your kindness, sister, but I am the Daluo heaven opener of this era's Steel City. It's already too late. Adding it in now wouldn't. Alright, that's not a problem. As long as you nod, I'll handle the rest. Things like timelines. Once changed, they're changed. No one dares to say a word. Sister is magnificent. Unfortunately, you're a step too late, sister. A few days ago, Dao Ancestor found me. He asked me to take over the work of the 4 saints. I'm afraid I can't come to your side. The 4 sacred beasts? Sister, in my heart, there is only you. Others who want me to join them, I don't even give them a glance. But Dao Ancestor doesn't care about that. He bullied me for being a newly promoted Daluo and forced this position on me. He even threatened that if I didn't agree, he'd sell me to goddess Nuwa. As he spoke, he wiped away a non-existent tear. Houtu instantly exploded, hearing that Dao Ancestor used that little bitch Nuwa to threaten you. She slammed her hand onto the throne. Standing up abruptly, her jade-like face turned cold. Cold sweat instantly broke out on my forehead. Oops, I stirred the pot too much. I knew Houtu and Nuwa didn't get along, but I didn't expect it to be this bad. Just hearing the name makes her explode. Fine. He dares to steal people from me. Follow me. Where? The Zhixiao Palace, of course. Does the Dao Ancestor think he can cover the sky with one hand? That he can force my brother? Let's go. Sister will back you up. Even if it's Dao Ancestor, we aren't afraid. If he doesn't revoke this position today, this era of Honghuang ends today. If this were anyone else, I'd definitely grab a stool and eat sunflower seeds, cheering from time to stir the pot, and say something petty like exactly. But now, the Zhixiao Palace is a place I cannot go. Thinking of Dao Ancestor's smiling little eyes, my spine chills. If I get targeted, infinite Honghuang eras won't be easy, even with Houtu's protection. I'll probably be tied to the Wu clan's war chariot forever. Sister Houtu, calm down. Actually, this position isn't that bad. I think doing it for one era is fine. Taking over the 4 saints position is great. Fine, sister will let you suffer for a bit. My face was suddenly full of flattering smiles. How could that be, Sister Houtu? My heart belongs only to you. I'm just giving Dao Ancestor some face. Besides, Honghuang is so vast. Transmigrators keep coming to cause trouble. It affects everyone's quality of life. I'll do it for this era first. I'll definitely come later. Sister Houtu, this, after a long time of soothing, and promising that, in some future era, I would definitely become a great Wu in Houtu's tribe. Houtu finally let it go. Houtu sat back on her throne, crossing her legs and beckoning me over. This time I approached obediently, pointing to the side. A slightly shorter chair naturally appeared. The height and position were just right, allowing Houtu to pinch my face effortlessly. I dared to be angry, but not to speak. One day, the person in this seat will be reversed. So, you came because of that transmigrator. Hearing it was time for business, I leaned back slightly, my chin escaping Houtu's jade-like hand. Yes, doesn't this involve you, Sister Houtu? I came to ask about the situation first. Otherwise, if I just went and killed him, that wouldn't be good. If Nuwa can scratch him, why can't I? I shuddered, and quickly leaned my head back. That's a good boy. You say that Transmigrator rambled on and on, about the heavenly way, the earthly way, and so on. The story was well woven. Pity the person is nothing special. Then what does sister want to do? Do you want the meaty version or the vegetarian one? Do you want to bury him directly, or play with him for a while? I'll follow your lead, sister. I originally wanted to see what skills he had, and if he could bring some entertainment, so I kept him for now. But since you've taken Dao Ancestor's task, sister will leave this to you. In that case, let's go with the vegetarian option. Let's see what he's plotting first. In a moment, I'll notify the Daluos here first, lest someone kills him on sight without knowing the situation. For 3 months, I stayed in Houtu's tribe. Today, I went to drink with Xing Tian again. When I visited him before, I told him about the transmigrator. Xing Tian was very interested and beat his chest, saying leave it to him, claiming he was a professional when it came to acting. I looked at him skeptically. Don't doubt me. Otherwise, in the era when I defy heaven and conquer earth, follow me. I'll show you what a real powerhouse looks like. I'll pass. I don't want my head chopped off. I had heard other Daluos talk about Xing Tian's conquest of the mortal world. A few eras ago, Xing Tian accidentally improvised his own script. Originally, they were supposed to act out the obstacles to the human race's rise. He had a major villain role. After a few takes, Xing Tian was beaten senseless by several human emperors in various ways. Finally, he snapped. He tried to seize the heavenly court with his Wu body. Though it was sudden, the Jade Emperor Houtu reacted quickly and stepped in as Xing Tian's opponent. The two had a fierce battle. Xing Tian almost succeeded in conquering the earth. In the end, Houtu's strength prevailed. He beheaded Xing Tian, but unexpectedly, this guy got too hyped. He didn't care that he was beheaded. Holding his axe, he kept fighting. The Daluos found it absolutely thrilling to watch. Later on, this scene became a standard script in Honghuang. My eyes shifted. I lifted the flask and poured a bowl of wine for Xing Tian. Brother Xing Tian, you fail every time you conquer the earth. Have you considered changing the script next era? Like joining the heavenly court or something? Joining the heavenly court? Why not consider it? Acting out the same script every era is getting boring, don't you think? Dao Ancestor mentioned letting me be the Jade Emperor next era. For me, this is undoubtedly an opportunity. To move beyond Daluo requires a special method. If I can become the Jade Emperor next era, my Daluo Dao will become even more stable. I'll catch a glimpse of the realm of the strongest Daluos. That way, facing supreme beings like Nuwa and Houtu, I won't have to be as passive as I am now. I want to be at the top too, but securing the position of Jade Emperor isn't easy, especially with my unstable foundation. I need allies strong enough. This big oaf in front of me is perfect, simple-minded, experienced, and powerful. Plus, he represents the votes of the Wu clan's Daluos. If I can get him on my side, my position in the next era will be secure.
Absolutely impossible.
Houtu and I are sworn enemies. Brother Xing Tian, let's say hypothetically, just a hypothesis. What if the Jade Emperor changes in the next era? Brother, what do you mean by that? There's a chance, I thought with joy. I knew there was room for negotiation, but I didn't rush it. I was just speaking casually. Don't take it to heart. This era has only just reached the great war of witches and demons, the rise of humanity. If the news leaks too early, those bored Daluos will get excited. Who knows? They might start plotting for the next era right now. But Xing Tian remains suspicious. Moreover, Daluos have their own factions. Only the most unique among them, the Dao Ancestor, stands above all. I gained the Dao Ancestor's recognition. He gave me a background in the Primordial World. Later, I listened to his sermons and attained the Dao, successfully becoming a Daluo. Because of this, some Daluos see me as a disciple of the Dao Ancestor's lineage. Brother, if you have any inside information, you must tell your big brother in advance. I have no other strengths, but I can keep a secret. There's really nothing. Trust me, given our relationship. If there's any news, I'll let you know immediately. Seeing Xing Tian about to press further, I proactively changed the subject. It's been a few months. That transmigrator hasn't made a move. Why don't we see what he's up to? As I spoke, I pointed to the wine bowl. A figure appeared in the bowl. He's flying outwards. He's leaving the 9 netherworlds. What's the plan between you and Lady Houtu? Sister Houtu said she wants to have her fun. She's curious about the treasure the transmigrator mentioned. That can create samsara. We'll have to suppress first, then exalt. What does suppress first, then exalt mean? Simple. These transmigrators are trapped by power. They lose their true selves, becoming slaves to their systems. Yet they remain oblivious. Instead, they think they're the chosen ones, believing the whole world revolves around them. Our goal is to let him get arrogant, make him truly believe he's the protagonist of destiny. Let him charge straight to what he thinks is the peak. And then, at his moment of greatest triumph, let him realize the cruelty of this world. Let him reach the top with ease. Then let him fall from the highest height. You're truly destroying his spirit. But I love it. What about me? What role do I play? What's my part? I think the part where he wakes up to reality from the peak is perfect for you. Your role is to be this guy's stepping stone. Let him get cocky. Make him misjudge his own strength. I am the war god of the Wu clan. Just ask around. In the entire Wu clan, besides the ancestral witches, who is a better fighter than me? Why on earth should I be his stepping stone? War god of the Wu clan. The war god who gets beheaded every time. I'll kill you. Xing Tian was shocked. He looked at me in disbelief. He didn't expect that his axe strike would be blocked so easily. Although he didn't use full power, he didn't hold back intentionally either. Even some veteran Daluos wouldn't have handled it this easily. Did this kid really attain the Dao in this era? He didn't continue the attack. He simply withdrew his giant axe and sat back down. He was mostly joking just now. If I couldn't even block that one strike, Xing Tian would definitely have made me the stepping stone, and he would have done the final cleanup. The moment he sat down, many thoughts flashed through Xing Tian's mind. Xing Tian saw a faint shadow of the old liar in me. Fine, I'll be the stepping stone. Xing Tian's change of heart exceeded my expectations. I thought I'd have to waste a lot of breath, so I gave him a thumbs up in praise, and told him that next time something like this happens, he'll definitely be the one to do the cleanup. Before leaving, I cautioned Xing Tian to remember to hold back. If he accidentally kills Houtu, she's going to be very unhappy. Don't worry, I'm a professional. After 3 months of bitter cultivation, Ming had completely refined the rewards from the system. Compared to before, he now had absolute confidence. The system's latest mission was to trick Houtu into coming to the 9 netherworlds, to use the Chaos Reincarnation Platform to seize her ancestral witch origin, to evolve Samsara from it. Then the system would reward him with the status of Earth Controller, fusing completely with the earthly Dao, turning the 9 netherworlds into his own world. At that time, he would be equal to the heavenly Dao, far stronger than any saint. Thinking of his flawless plan, a smile curled on his lips. His heart raced with excitement. His pace quickened. Then, riding a cloud, he arrived at the ancestral Wu tribe. Just as he approached, he was stopped by 2 Wu guards. "Yaem di Ming, a friend of your lady Houtu. Go and report this immediately. If you waste any more time, you won't be able to afford the consequences." Right then, a burly man walked to the gate. "What's all the shouting about?" "Greetings, Great Witch Xing Tian." Meanwhile, Houtu was using her slender fingers to scratch my chin. A member of the Wu clan hurried inside. "Someone calling himself Ming has arrived. He claims to be your friend, but he is behaving rudely. He's had a conflict with Great Witch Xing Tian. They've already started fighting." Houtu and I exchanged a glance and smiled at the same time. "Come on, let's go see the show." In just a few moments, Houtu and I could see the situation at the entrance. A crowd of Wu clan members had gathered. It was incredibly noisy. They seemed to be cheering them on. "Great Witch Xing Tian, show him the power of the Wu clan." 2 figures clashed, unleashing a heaven-shaking power. 2 fists collided. A terrifying shockwave erupted. Xing Tian let out a muffled groan and stumbled back 3 steps. "I really do have the strength of a quasi-saint. Even a top great witch like Xing Tian is no match for me." "Great Witch Xing Tian, you should probably stop now. You are no match for me. Kid, you're courting death." A low roar, a single punch blasts forward. This punch seems to condense all the heavens into one, like the end of 10,000 great Daos. Irresistible. Ming felt himself severed from the myriad realms. His eyes widened. He felt that, under this punch, heaven and earth slowed down. All things faded, leaving only the purest black. He tried to flee, but found he couldn't even lift a finger. As the fist drew closer, the terror of death was magnified infinitely. At the critical moment, a sudden light cough echoed. Ming was jolted awake. The world before him instantly brightened. Everything returned to his senses. Xing Tian's punch suddenly became limp. One glance, and it was full of openings, as if everything just now were a mere illusion. No time for deep thought. Ming let out a low shout, meeting Xing Tian's punch. Palm strike hit Xing Tian's chest. Xing Tian didn't budge an inch. He even blinked, looking at Ming. Cough, cough, cough. The coughing sound rang out again, louder than before. Only then did Xing Tian let out a scream. But by then, 3 full seconds had already passed since Ming struck him. "This is it? Your flawless acting? If I hadn't come, this kid would be dead." "Cut the crap, you do it then. The kid has some skill, but it's far from enough. Take this." He exerted force with his feet, charging at the opponent again.
Ming instantly became alert.
But the moment they clashed, he noticed a difference. This time, Xing Tian's power was far too weak. From the first move, he held all the advantage. Watching from nearby, I felt waves of despair. This damn Xing Tian isn't just holding back. He's practically draining the ocean. Who the hell groans and retreats the moment someone raises a hand? Does he think that Transmigrator is an idiot? What the hell is he doing? He didn't even kick you. Why are you falling over? Isn't this to make his legwork look precise? Stop. At the sound of Houtu's voice, Xing Tian, who was fighting, immediately retreated. I admit defeat. Thank you for the match. My strength is inferior. There was nothing to yield. After speaking, he walked toward Houtu.
Ming felt relieved.
Though he still had doubts about the fight, Xing Tian's appearance didn't seem fake. He didn't know Xing Tian before, so he couldn't have been holding back. Moreover, the system rated him as a quasi-saint. Middle stage, fellow Taoist Houtu. It's been 3 months. Your elegance remains unchanged. You have kept your word. Is there any progress on the matter of creating reincarnation? Naturally, I have found a way. Rest assured, fellow Taoist Houtu. Just as he spoke, his gaze swept to Houtu, and then to me by her side. He paused slightly. May I ask who this is? Just as I was about to speak, Houtu smiled. She pulled me close to her. He is my younger brother. His name is Hofeng, an ancestral witch of my clan. Why did she even change my surname? Ming, is it? I've heard my sister mention you before. I must thank you for the warning in the 9 netherworlds. It was only right. We are all pitiful souls manipulated by the heavenly Dao. We should naturally help one another. I've never heard that Houtu had a brother. No memory of that at all. I found a way to create reincarnation without you sacrificing yourself. I wonder if you have time to accompany me to the 9 netherworlds. If there truly is another way to establish reincarnation, I am naturally willing to go. You can't just stay in the tribe. My lady, last time you went to the 9 netherworlds alone, you almost sacrificed yourself for reincarnation, for the future of the Wu clan. I must go with you. Houtu thought about it, and then agreed. It wouldn't have mattered if she didn't. A Daluo has immense autonomy. If she really wants to go, no one can stop her. The 4 of them arrived at the 9 netherworlds, standing in midair, looking around. Countless souls of the primordial beings wandered blankly through the 9 netherworlds, aimlessly, walking forward without end, until even their souls perished. To establish reincarnation, we must go to the Sea of Blood. There, the aura of the 9 netherworlds mixes with the baleful chi of the Blood Sea. It is where the earth chi of the underworld is strongest, the most suitable place to evolve reincarnation. After speaking, he flew ahead. This is the place. To evolve reincarnation, I need one of my treasures. With a flip of his hand, a small square seal appeared. It emitted a chaotic aura, as if in harmony with the great Tao. Having brought out the treasure, Ming couldn't help but show off. A smirk curled on his lips. This object is the Chaos Reincarnation Platform, a first-grade Chaos Supreme treasure, not far inferior to Pangu's heaven-opening axe. Relying on this, one can evolve reincarnation within the 9 netherworlds. With a light shout, he tossed the Chaos Reincarnation Platform into the air. Then, he cast spell after spell. The Reincarnation Platform spun above the 9 netherworlds. Pillar after pillar of baleful chi soared into the sky, absorbed by the Reincarnation Platform, eventually forming a disc-like phantom. 6 beams of light lay dormant within. This is the phantom of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Fellow Taoist Houtu, I only need to borrow one more thing, and reincarnation can be established. Reincarnation will begin. I wonder what you wish to borrow. Your ancestral witch origin. I looked at the cold-faced Ming, and sighed inwardly. I had a little expectation before, thinking he might try some new tricks. But for Xing Tian and Houtu, now is where the real fun begins. This time, without my reminder, Xing Tian's acting skills skyrocketed. He entered character instantly. Insolence. How dare you speak to Ancestral Witch Houtu in such a manner? Do you even know what the Ancestral Witch origin represents? Of course I know what it is, but do you think you still have a chance to resist? He took a step forward. The aura of the 9 netherworlds around him surged. In an instant, the entire underworld resonated. Endless power of the underworld converged upon him, like the sovereign of heaven and earth. Ha ha ha! It's too late for words now. The 9 netherworlds are my domain. Here, I am the earthly Dao Saint. Within the primordial realm, none are my match. But don't worry, even if you lose your ancestral witch origin, you won't even die. You'll just become an ordinary member of the Wu clan. I'll keep you by my side, as a carefree little pet. Ha ha ha. Houtu looked at him, her expression remaining indifferent, not caring in the slightest. I stole a glance at Houtu. Others couldn't tell, but with my knowledge of her, I knew she was getting a bit angry. May the three pure ones and the Buddha protect him. I hope this foolish boy dies a quick death. Then again, even if the three pure ones and the Buddha faced her personally, the current Houtu, they would probably just have to accept it. An angry woman is a terrifying thing, especially a woman who has been Pangu. You want the ancestral source? Then let's see what you've got. He took a step forward, clenching his fists. Astral chi surged, and his aura exploded. He swung the great axe in his hand. In an instant, heaven and earth shattered. Cracks in space appeared one after another, turning into blades that sliced through the void. The 9 netherworlds trembled. Back in the primordial era, you were no match for me, let alone now. Xing Tian let out a muffled groan. His legs sunk deep into the earth.
Impossible.
How did you become so strong? Why is Xing Tian's acting suddenly on point? This brat didn't even want to act properly before. Haha, I already told you. Within the 9 netherworlds, I am invincible. Ha ha ha. Take this. 9 nether divine thunder. He waved a hand, and the gloomy skies of the 9 netherworlds were covered with dark clouds. Xing Tian roared, desperately raising his shield to block. As the thunder dissipated, Xing Tian's figure appeared on the ruined land. The shield in his hand was half-shattered, his aura withered, looking as if he had only one breath left. To think you could withstand the 9 nether divine thunder and survive. Truly the war god of the Wu clan who would one day challenge Houtu. Unfortunately, it ends here today. Although it's not the ancestral which source, your source is equally profound. It will benefit my path of power in condensing the true body of Pangu. I'll be taking it now. He pointed one hand toward the sky. The samsara platform, appearing as 6 phantom images, suddenly cast down a gray light. This light enveloped Xing Tian, and a powerful force, one that even transcended the laws of nature, appeared. Inside Xing Tian's body, the source power of the Wu clan was rapidly absorbed by the samsara platform. In just 3 breaths, he fell into a near-death state. Ming withdrew the light of the samsara platform, then looked toward Houtu. Alright, now it's your turn, Ancestral witch Houtu. As for me, he ignored me completely. A mere great witch whose name I have never heard. What could I possibly do in this situation? You think you've already won? Ha ha ha, still stubborn even now. But I like that. He didn't use any other tricks. He simply pointed at the samsara platform in the sky. The phantom of samsara trembled, and 6 beams of light descended, charging straight toward Houtu. Houtu stood her ground, letting the light envelop her.